Hey everyone, welcome back to Passing the Peace Pipe. You got your, as always, your Shaman Packer and your Chief Blitz Freak.
How you doing?
How you doing? We can't hear you, but we'll still ask. We've got Trump going into the bowl and if we're a bit of North Korea as well this week.
Everyone knows more about North Korea than South Korea.
Yeah, well, mate, they are like the closest to North Korea, so maybe they'd have the information blocked, but I don't know, do you know what like the border's like or anything between them? Sure, they have obviously guards on the south side. Would they, with like binoculars, be able to see anything going on over the other side, or
Well-
would they have like some wall and maybe like tarps up, camo shit at the back so no one can see anything?
No, they have guards on both sides.
Yeah.
But North Korea, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. North Korea has the fake city. What everyone calls the North Korean fake city.
Yeah.
So you can see a city that looks incredibly prosperous, but apparently no one lives there. That's
Yeah,
just so the
yeah.
South Koreans can be jealous.
Yeah, though, I totally forgot about their fucking little fake city. See, they're fucking... I don't know. North Korea is shifty, but also a little bit clever like that. But it's also like, I don't know, how many people are you going to really believe that, live in that fake city?
I don't think any live in it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, like, how many people are going to believe that actual people live in the fake city,
Oh, true.
Like, it's just kind of a waste of money and resources. But I don't know, they've been doing a lot of tricky shit like that recently. He fucking faked his death for like 2 weeks.
What?
Recently. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I didn't really see any reports of he's dead. He was like reported to be in a vegetative state or anything.
And are these your reports?
No, I was not there personally this time. But old Kimmy apparently had like open heart surgery or something along those lines.
Okay.
But I think in the country, he got pronounced dead, and like around the world, it was like pronounced a vegetative state. And then he had like his sister, I think, take over for like 2 weeks. And then she basically sussed everyone out. And now he's come back.
From the dead like Jesus?
Yeah, let's not go that far. He wasn't dead in the first place, I'm willing to bet my top dollar on.
What, you don't think Jesus really died on the cross?
No, of course, mate. We've fucking named our fucking year calendar after him. He probably existed, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, Jesus, you don't fucking change the entire year's dating system because the guy didn't exist. But, yeah, he found, his sister, like, sniffed everyone out, and now, anyone who was, like, grabbing power or, like, using his death to advance, they're just gone,
Nice. That's the best way to run these countries, so I'm told.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, fuck, well, if you're a dictator, I guess. It's a bit, Game of Thrones over there.
I mean, you could be a good dictator. You could be like a good king or something. That's still an option. But I hear what you're saying, that you're claiming he's probably not one of those.
Yeah, and like, really, what was the difference between a dictator and a king?
I honestly don't know. I mean, you overthrow them both the same. And
and like, the only people that succeed them, like, are part of their family, so it's just like, I don't know.
It's crazy, and I guess people are going to make...
bad and good kings. There could be bad and good dictators.
And what's good for one person might be horrible for another. Like, to put it in contrast, you can smoke marijuana in North Korea. That's completely legal. However, you commit a crime, like you steal someone's horse and cart, I assume that's what they're using. Not only do you go to jail, but there's a weird system where they'll send one of your kids and a grandchild, or one of your parents and a grandparent as well.
Like they all, like, 3 generations of your family have to be imprisoned or some shit.
Yes, I mean, that seems really harsh, unless, again, never living there, do they have very few people in prison because of this? A punishment so harsh that people don't commit the crimes. And then what is a crime? Like I said, marijuana is not illegal in North Korea. But then you hear of other countries like Indonesia where they will execute you for drugs. However, they don't deem things like magic mushrooms, although incredibly potent hallucinogens, they don't deem them to be drugs. So
that's just confusing as fuck.
it is very confusing. So you look at the dictators and you go, are they doing a good job? Would it suit me? I guess not being allowed to leave the country.
Think in North Korea, everyone's kind of starving to death, so that's probably on the forefront.
That's true. I've often questioned why they starve there. I know that sanctions stop them from getting things like sulfuric acid and stuff in to make fertilizers.
Yeah.
So they can't grow the food. International community will tell you it's not to stop them growing food, it's to stop them making explosives. But they can't grow the food and no one's sending them the food. So I don't like the North Korean dictator, but I think it's not like when you send food to African countries which have horrific leaders like Mugabe and stuff. Like he was just horrific. You send it to them, they
Kanye,
don't.
Kobe 2012.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Kanye forever.
They don't send the food out to the people and they starve the people. Now, when I was younger, and again, I could be wrong on this, but from everything I've seen, I thought that the North Korean leaders were always getting the food and refusing to send it to the people, like as a punishment. I didn't understand that the rest of the world was refusing to send them the food and refusing them to the means to make fertilizers to actually grow the food. And then I started to think, so is like they'll show the North Korean leader eating because obviously he's going to be able to get food, but I don't think he's starving his country like African countries have done. And like before, who was before Putin? Stalin. Yeah. Like Stalin, they're not starving the people intentionally. If the North Korean leader could feed his people, gulags. He would feed them. Yeah, again, I could be wrong, but that's the impression I get nowadays, and I think it's really unfair on the North Korean people to not be feeding them when we feed other countries. Like, it seems crazy.
Yeah. There's some crazy places in Africa where it's just like warlords and constant war and everything, and it's just like, damn, I don't know. If you keep sending aid to them, it's like you gotta send basically soldiers to ensure the right people get that aid at the same time. So that's kind of the trouble with North Korea as well. It's like once it goes in the country, you don't know what happens to it.
That's
true.
It's
just got the complete media blackout. So yeah, it's just like fuck.
So no, I guess that is a valid point. And anyone could argue it is going, if you send them the materials, fertilizers to grow things, will they just convert that into weaponry? And they are smart enough to. There's no reason they wouldn't be able to. And I guess I just like to think that they've already got all their weapons and that they wouldn't have to do this. But I don't know. That's possibly what they will do with it.
Well, yeah, they were doing those missile testing a couple of years back.
Oh, was that the missile that went off underground? I don't know as much about this.
No.
Have to...
This one was like, they were just kind of like basically testing how far they could go with it, and that was like the one that they fired over Japan. And it didn't hit anything, and I don't even think it detonated in the ocean where it landed. But yeah, it definitely got people in a bit of uproar. But I think they were just like trying to get them to eventually go as far as the United States, but they haven't reached anywhere close to that anyone's seen. But I don't know, they've been quiet for a couple of years now, so
yeah.
Until the recent thing with him kind of like faking his death.
But then I wonder what the real deal was with Trump. I wonder what... I mean, I know we all got told the agreement, but between the two of them, I wonder what it was. Trump got
Why are you thinking? What did Kimmy get out of this?
Yeah, like because you're right, we haven't heard about them. It's like, have they literally been doing less? So did their meeting actually just help the world, and North Korea did make changes, or for some reason did the media just stop showing what North Korea is doing? Now, I find the second one hard to believe because my understanding is, I mean, I don't really follow much of the media anymore, but my understanding is they hate Trump still. Like, all media hates Trump.
Oh
Like,
yeah, of course.
yeah,
But that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's what he's always been going for, to be honest.
yeah.
Ever since his election.
But there's no way he could have done a deal with North Korea to silence the media when the media.
Well, what do you think he would have given? Like, what would have been the deal though? Like, he's just like, yo, boys, stop making your weapons and shit. Give us back the fallen soldiers. I'll stop assaulting you on Twitter.
I don't think that they would have stopped. That I don't think anyone would have believed that North Korea was actually going to stop with their weapon programs or lull them. So I think it would have been an actual real deal. Like, as business people, like, he's gone, I want the bodies. I will give you. We will not block foreign aid coming from maybe a certain country. I don't know if they receive foreign aid from anyone at the moment, or maybe they would let them. They would remove the embargoes and allow certain products to now go into the country that could be converted into food growers or. I mean, I'm really not sure. Maybe they're sending him that golden rice, that genetically modified rice. If you eat that, it carries most of the nutrients you need. So even if your country doesn't have a lot of food, you feed people the rice, and they will survive a lot healthier, better. Their minds will work better, which will allow them to hopefully one day develop their own programs.
Golden rice.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Golden rice, basically genetically modified rice. I can't remember offhand which countries it was made for. It's basically just packed full of different different nutrients and vitamins. Because, I mean, most people don't know this, but, okay, wow, we've really gone off North Korea. But, like, most people don't know this. But when you hear about people starving in countries, a lot of the time it's not from lack of food. They have plenty of food. It's just not the right food. So if you don't get the correct vitamins, your body just collapses. I mean, there was a tribe in Africa that only ate crocodile meat, and it turned out only eating crocodile meat, it keeps you alive, but you're still technically starving. And that also caused their whole tribe to go infertile, was purely eating crocodile meat.
Jeez.
Now, it'd be ridiculous to say crocodile meat makes you go infertile, but a pure diet of that would.
Well, maybe 'cause it's just mostly protein. You need carbs for the actual energy for your body to break down.
Yeah. So, I mean, another example, another good example that I have was there'll be countries where people have bananas, but those bananas don't carry the same nutrients as another country's bananas. So if you were to, you don't even have to modify them. You could literally just bring the better quality bananas from one country to another country, and you help them like that. But nowadays they've got genetically modified foods like the super rice, like the golden rice. So when people eat golden rice, it doesn't matter where in the country they live, whether they were eating crocodile or what they're eating, they can now change their diet to mainly this rice, and they will actually receive most of the nutrients that they need.
Yeah.
And the world's a different place when your brain functions properly.
Yeah, fucking A. I'm letting them fucking make nukes though. That's fucked up.
That is true. I'm not sure of the capacity of the North Korean military at the moment, but they did used to do those big shows where they'd come out with their missile launchers and show that we can hit the northern part of Australia now. And
no, they could only go to Japan.
Could they?
I think that was their latest one.
Oh, they've always had good lies.
They shot no, but like it actually went over Japan, and the place was they had an alert and shit about the missile, but it like just got over the main island and then just flooded out in the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you can look that shit up.
I gotta say, personally,
I think it's like 2017, maybe. Maybe in the 16.
I do agree with you, where I don't think he's a good leader. But then I question things like, why is North Korea still and so strongly always been supported by China? And you look at the North Korean War, which absolutely no one talks about, which, I mean, this is going to lead us into Trump, where you had the Chinese fully back the North Koreans on that. The American soldiers were told not to move up into North Korea, but they did. And a lot of American soldiers were killed, and a lot of other foreigners. I don't know about Australians, but a lot of people were killed in the North Korean War up towards the Chinese border. Now, my understanding was no country got their soldiers' bodies back, that they were never returned. But when Trump went into negotiations with North Korea, he successfully, after all these years, had American soldiers' corpses and the remains returned to America.
Yeah.
Which surely that would have to help Trump's polling position.
Absolutely.
Because if you didn't like him before, you gotta maybe like the guy if he's returned your granddad's corpse.
Yeah, well, that's what kind of annoys me with Trump, is that he has such a bad public image, and he doesn't help his public image with his fucking Twitter and speeches and grabbing her by the
Got that pussy!
That's it. He fucking knew. But then you've got him fucking, after being a dick and everything, he fucking produces these results that other presidents, like, have never done. You know? He's fucking one of the first presidents, if the first president ever, to set foot in North Korea, be welcomed by the leader. And then he's secured the bloody bodies of the fallen to come home after that as well. Which, you know, it's like, man, he's got a shit public image, but he's getting shit done. That's it.
Well, I suggested when he was originally elected that I said eventually he will go to North Korea and that he will do deals with them. But here's the problem with, like you say, perception. If he calmly negotiated with North Korea and didn't say all the stupid things he says and makes really stupid comments, then people would have said, you're a traitor. You didn't take our side and bully the other side correctly. So he has to have strong stances against North Korea, where he's like, we're going to make demands on nukes, and we're going to make all these demands, when really I think the whole time he was just trying to get the bodies back. Now, you got to manufacture these stories so that he has to look like he's going hard against them, but then on one hand, Trump, who is friends with a lot of famous people, Trump is friends with Dennis Rodman, and I knew that Dennis Rodman was friends with Kim Jong. So I predicted, as soon as Trump got in, that I said, somehow Dennis Rodman will negotiate a meeting between them. They'll pretend like they're fighting. They won't be fighting. They'll get the deal done. And then at the end, North Korea will probably go back to its strong stance on nuclear weapons, but Trump will get what he wants. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be the bodies back, but I knew that he would be able to successfully negotiate. He's a businessman. But a lot of the things he does looks ridiculous. I mean, North Korea is not the only country he's done it to. I mean, he fought with the Mexicans, and
Whatever happened to him in his fucking wall?
Well, he was the wall. The argument of the wall was a brilliant idea. When they brought the financial advisors onto a talk show, they had the financial advisors from Mexico and from the USA. And this was just after their leaders had refused to meet each other. They were going to meet each other, and then it got so heated that both sides, America doubled down, Trump doubled down on how he's going to stop the Mexicans, and the Mexican president at the time doubled down on how much they basically hate Trump and Americans. the thing that no one talked about, except the financial advisors in this, was it financially worked for both countries. Both countries needed stronger restrictions on the wall. It just allowed for more taxing of products and the workforce and stuff. But both leaders were allowed to look like they were strong fighting another country, because inherently all of our countries are kind of, I mean, it's not racism, but it is a form of discrimination. We are against other countries. The majority seem to want their leaders to be like that. I honestly think that Trump and the Mexican president could have had a very civil phone conversation. But for it to play out well for them in their next elections, they needed to have a fight as well in public. And I think that's what he's done in North Korea. And
No, I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. Like, especially with America, and especially the sort of voters that he attracts as well, is he'd definitely have to take a strong stance on all the foreigners, you know, and be like, this is, you know, we cannot forgive them or anything. I'm not going over there to be friends or anything. I'm going to get our shit and shut them down and fuck them up while I'm over there.
Because, I mean, that's what people appreciate. I mean, we live in Australia where, I mean, our prime ministers often threaten China. I mean, we're not going to fight China.
Yeah, fuck.
Well, I mean, we want to keep doing business with them, and but people want their leaders to say ridiculous things like we're going to stop the Chinese from moving boatloads of products into this country. And it's like, but isn't that our medical supplies and all the things that we buy on sites because they're cheaper to buy than they are to buy in your own country? like, don't they... Well, I guess they're not getting the taxes from the second one on that, so I could see why maybe they do want to shut the Chinese down.
But, like, China's always been, like, our second largest trade partner, so... I don't know. They've kind of got us by the balls, economically.
I know. We should just learn how to play ball. Ni hao. Washer, Blitz freak.
Chief Blitz is out. Your resident shaman will be back next week.